Hey, thank you for joining. We've now come to our session number 3. Let me get this in full screen. So in today's session, we're going to be able to formulate an information system strategy for an organization. So what do we mean by that? In today's session, we're going to, the learner will now develop an understanding of the importance of integrating organizational strategy with the information system and the tools and techniques that can be used to analyze strategy. So they will analyze business process and recommend improvements. So what is strategy? Let's define strategy. So by strategy, we're just looking into action that managers take to attain one or more of the organization goals. So a strategy can be looking to the way supervisors and managers within the organization will now consider and think is most beneficial for the company performance in order for them to gain more revenue and profit towards the end of the year. So a strategy is a well-defined roadmap of an organization where it is going to define the overall mission, vision, and direction of an organization. So a strategy will now give us objectivity. So we need to put down what are going to be our short and long-term goals. So by breaking down into pieces, a company organization can now track the performance, the employees' KPI, in order for them to achieve their long-term goals. So with the strategy, it is significant, important, because it is then not possible to foresee the future. So obviously it is possible to forecasting, so it's possible to predict what the long term are going to be, but as we all know, probability is always an equation. So it's always going to give you a chances. It's not going to give you the exact figures, but it's going to be a predicted figures and where you're going to reach. So when it comes to component of a strategy, we need to know there are 4 major classification for them. So we're going to look into strategic intent, mission statement, vision, goals, and objectivities. So what is a strategic intent? By intent, we're just looking at the purpose. We're going to look into what the company is trying to achieve and why it will continue to exist. So our purpose will now define everything for us. So it will now tell us what are going to be our future plans and our goals and how these are going to be achieved. And it's also a good positive way because it's now going to give a positive impact to our employees. So it's going to motivate them, and it's also going to clarify the vision of our company in order for everyone to work towards it. So there is also mission statement, which it is a statement of the rule by which an organization intends to serve its stakeholders. And why those is going to describe why our organization is operating. And also where our organization is going to operate. So there are some features when it comes to mission statement. So we're going to look into why our mission must be feasible and attainable. So by feasible means how doable, how possible our goals can be achieved and within certain timeframes. So the mission should be clear enough. So there shouldn't be any sort of misunderstanding within the organization and each department. It should be inspiring. So it should motivate the staff, stakeholders, and whoever is involved in the business. It has to be precise enough. So shouldn't be a leak of data integrity. So it has to be concise and specific towards the business goals. Unique, so it means that we should bring a unique value and have a impact when it comes to motivating our employees. And it also should be analytical. So you now analyze the key component of our strategy. Vision, as we mentioned before, it is really important because it is where our company is working towards. So with a clear vision, we will now set our goals and objectivities. So some features of vision are it has to be unambiguous, it has to be clear, and must harmonize or soever match with the organization culture and values. And lastly, but not the least, we have goals where it is going to describe the destination. So these are going to be tangible. So it shows how our business have operated over the years and how much we have achieved. And as I said, tangible, which is a good synonym of objective. And by this, we can now see how we have performed over the years. So with objective, it is a measures that the progress is a measures of the progress that is needed to give to the destination. So the objectivities are defined as goals that organization wants to achieve over a period of time. So here we are now looking into strategy formulation. What do we mean by this? It is simply the process of deciding the best course of action for accomplishing the organizational objectivities. So there are different paths and ways a company can reach the goals. So it is best for the company to understand which one would be the most effective and can give a good return of investment in the short amount of time. So it is important for the company to understand and be able to process this formulation. So a strategy formulation process will now refer to the process of choosing the most appropriate course of action. So when it comes to choosing them, we're now basically going to involve 6 main steps, such as setting the organization objectivities, evaluating the organizational environment, setting quantitative targets, aim in context with the divisional plans, perform analysis, and choice of strategy. So let's look into each of them. What do we mean by setting organizational objectivities? So when it comes to defining long-term goals, we need to have some key components, some key aspects, some features that will now be looking to primary components. So these primary components are going to sit at the top level when it comes to decision making and when it comes to prioritizing stuff. So every company will now have the key components which they're going to refer when they're now going to make some decisions we're going to make some changes to the business. So what does this mean? The strategy, it is a wider term, which we now believe it is the manner of deployment of resource, so as the achieve of the objectivities. Also, what is the process? What is the evaluate? Now we have to also look into evaluating the organizational environment. So there are major aspects which are going to impact decision when it comes to making changes over our business. So a couple of them are going to be environmental. So what does this mean? Is that the next step is to evaluate the general economic and industrial environment in which the organization operates. So this will now include a review of the organization competitive position, and it is essential to conduct a qualitative and quantitative review of the organization existing product line. Then we have to set some quantitative targets. So we now must practically fix the quantitative targets value for some of the organizational objectivities. Also, we're now going to aim in context with the divisional plans. So basically, what means that in this step, the contribution made by each department or divisional product category with the organization is identified, and accordingly, strategical planning is done for each subunit. So this will now require a careful analysis of macroeconomic trends. And what do we mean by macroeconomics? This is going to be the study of economy-wide phenomena, such as inflation, price level, rate economy growth, national income, gross domestic product, GDP. Also, the aim of in context with the division plans. So this will now going to be a contribution made by each department or division of product category within the organization, and it is now identified as according strategy planning when it's done for each subunit. And lastly, we have performance analysis, where this can be done through different type of measurements. So the most common are KPI, where companies can now see how the employees have been performing, and they can now see how they've performed over the years. Then we have performance analysis, which will now include discovering and analyzing the gap between the plan and desired performance. And lastly, we'll now have choice of strategy, which is the ultimate and final of the formulation. So this will now going to be the best course of action, and is actually choosing after considering organizational goals, organizational strength, potential, and limitations. So this was everything for today's session. Here are some links where you can now refer for you to look into information strategy and how it can be organization. So this was everything. Is there any questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.